If your life feels like it is happening at 2 times speed, you are not imagining it, and you are definitely not alone. I have spent this year figuring out how to juggle a master's program, my full-time job, this podcast, creative projects, my relationships, and I am still trying to remember to drink water and be an actual human being. It's a lot. It's too much sometimes, but we keep going. What I've learned is that the goal isn't to slow life down, but rather it is to stop letting the pace of your life control you. This episode is all about how you can keep showing up for this version of yourself that you are becoming, even when life feels so fast and demanding. Hello and welcome back to another episode of To Be Known. If you're new here, my name is Makayla Morman and I am your go-to girl when it comes to anything personal development related. As I mentioned earlier, I got a lot of things going on and I am constantly trying to figure out how I can better myself and better my life, because I know that when I feel very grounded and intentional with how I live my life on the day-to-day, that is when I am able to go out into the world and invite others to actually get to know me. And that is what this podcast is all about. Today, I am going to be sharing with you the 5 lessons that I have learned that have kept me sane, grounded, and moving forward in the busiest, most overwhelming season of my life. If you are feeling stretched thin, emotionally overstimulated, or just feeling like you are one step behind, this is for you. The number one way that you can help yourself feel less overwhelmed in a busy season of life is this idea of lower the bar and raise the consistency. When we are in a busy season of life, we can feel a lot of pressure to do things perfectly, but that is not the goal here. The goal is to just simply get it done. When people put these unrealistic expectations on themselves to do everything perfectly, that is when you will collapse. That is when burnout happens, when you just feel this intense amount of pressure to do everything on your plate to 110%. You know what your limits are. Do not push yourself past them when it comes to this busy season of life. Lowering the bar is not laziness, it's strategy. When you see tiny, repeatable, actionable steps is what is going to get you to actually achieve everything that's on your list of to-dos. There is a reason why there is the story of the turtle and the hare. The hare tries to run and get through the race as fast as it humanly can, and it loses. Why? Because it has to stop, take a nap. It had burnout during that race. The turtle, on the other hand, he took little teeny tiny actionable steps and he got to that end and won because he did it slowly. He showed up for himself moment by moment, step by step, conserving his energy so that he could run the race. When it comes to this idea of lowering the bar and raising the consistency, the best thing that you can do is to think of yourself as the turtle rather than the hare, because the power and the impact that tiny actionable steps have when you show up for yourself day in and day out is far greater than massive, inconsistent bouts of effort. You need to prioritize the non-negotiables first. When life feels busy and overwhelming, you need to do the things that actually move the needle. You know the big things that you have to do. But have you ever taken a moment to say, what are my non-negotiables? What are my priorities for myself that I need to get done first thing in the morning for me to know that I am going to have a productive day? These are your core maintenance non-negotiables that you have to learn to prioritize for yourself every single day. The concept of these core maintenance habits is what is going to keep you grounded and stable in a life that might feel chaotic. These are simply just things that you do on the day-to-day that help you feel sane and grounded and like you are actually taking care of yourself. For me, my non-negotiables when it does come to my day-to-day are my morning walks, my morning journaling, just pretty much my morning routine in general. If I do not have it, I do not feel like myself moving out through the day. Remember, you cannot control the pace of life, but you can choose what anchors you to it. You can choose your habits on the day-to-day that help you actually show up for yourself day in and day out. And that starts with you. You genuinely have to take care of yourself so that you can then show up and do what it is that you need to do in the other areas of your life. It all starts with you. When life feels overwhelming, one of the most important things that you need to do is stop arguing with the reality of the season of life that you are in. When you meet your life with resistance, when you wish that things were different than what they actually are, it will drain you. Whereas when you meet where you are at in life with acceptance, that is going to allow you to see what it is that you actually need in that moment to show up in your life. Acceptance gives you energy, resistance drains it. You can waste so much of your emotional bandwidth when you resist the busy season of life that you are in. You will drain yourself dry if you do not look at your life and just come to accept it and say, this is where I am at. How do I support myself through this busy season of life? When we are in this busy season of life, it is not forever. We have these different spheres in our lives that are important. We have work and school. We have our relationships. We have our creativity or who we want to be as a person. And we have ourselves. These different spheres in our lives, some of them will be bigger in our lives and take up more energy than others. So what is it that you need? How can you support yourself during this season of life so that your needs, your desires, and your wants are being met? This takes time and intention and attention to try and figure out what it is that you are actually doing, the ways that you might be thinking that are draining you rather than supporting you during this season of life. Let's be real. Just because you accept this season of your life does not necessarily mean that you have to like it. It just means that you're okay with what's going on. It means you stop fighting with what already is happening. When you stop trying to fight with the pace of your life, you can only learn to move with it. This is what is going to get you through at the end of the day. The lie of motivation is that it's always going to be there for you. And this is just not the case. What you need in a busy season of life is this idea of a system, because you cannot rely on motivation alone to support you to get everything done. Motivation is fragile. A system holds you up. When you have your daily routine locked in, your weekly routine locked in, because you have this system that actually works for your life, you will be able to flow through an overwhelming season of your life because you have the system to support you. Creating a system for your life does not have to be complicated. Actually, the more simple it is, the better. When it comes to simple systems, there are two things that I have in mind. The first being this idea of deep focus calendar blocks and just the simple idea of daily routines, weekly resets, whatever it is for you that works. When you block out time in your calendar to focus, have deep focus on certain things that need to get done, this is what's going to keep you afloat. When you have your weekly reset or your morning routine, your nightly routine, these are times of day or times of the week that you could genuinely depend on yourself to take care of yourself and to get things done. When you are creating a block in your calendar for deep focus, you need to keep a few things in mind. The first being, we are humans. Go put that phone in the other room so that you do not have distractions, because distractions pull you out of that focus. The second thing being is that you need to make sure that you are giving yourself a reward during this time block as well as afterwards. So whether that be that you listen to music or you listen to a podcast or you listen to an audiobook while you go do everything else. And then at the end, you have a reward, such as a little treat, a little beverage. You need to make sure that you are rewarding yourself throughout this experience so that it does not feel draining. The third thing being is that you cannot expect perfection. Remember, you are just trying to get it done. You don't have to go through this period of deep focus, trying to be the ultimate 110% version of yourself. Just try to get things done. Let's shift gears and talk about these weekly resets, morning routine, night routine that can really help you stay focused and stay sane when it does come to maintaining a good system in your life. You need to make sure that every single morning you have 2 to 3 things that genuinely ground you to move through the rest of the day. Whether it is you drink a cup of coffee, or you go on a walk, or you journal. What are 3 things that you can do first thing in the morning to get you ready for the day? And then the inverse, what are 2 to 3 things that you can do at night that also put you in that mood to be ready for the end of the day? Is it the fact that you go around your apartment and you tidy it up a little bit? Is it the idea of just doing your skincare at night? Whatever it is that helps you reset at the end of the night, make sure that you are doing it every single day. And then there's the idea of the weekly reset. And this is a day out of the week that you make sure whatever big major tasks that you need to do in order to feel like an actual human, this is the day of the week that you depend on it. But I personally like to have my reset days to be on Saturday. Typically it happens Saturday or Sunday, just depending on the weekend. But these are days of the week where I go and I just take care of the things out of the house that need to be done so that I can go into this next week feeling like I'm ready for it, basically. So these are days of the week where I'm doing all of the laundry in the house. I'm washing the sheets, I'm washing the comforters, I'm washing the clothes. I'm taking care of everything when it does come to washing because it's just so tedious. You have to have your wash day. And then I also go out, I go to the grocery store and I make sure that I meal prep my lunches for at least 3 to 4 days out of the work week. Typically, I do that on Sundays, but I seriously feel like having a weekly reset on the weekend where I know that I'm going to be able to step into the following week feeling fresh and feeling like I've recovered well is essential for me to feel like I'm actually taking care of myself in this busy season of life. These systems that you can have in your life, such as that deep focus, calendar blocking in your day-to-day, morning routines, night routines, weekly resets, all of these things help with decision fatigue. Because let's be real, when we have to do a million things in a day, when we have to make a million choices, the last thing that we want to have to do is to make choices about how we are going to spend our day and how we're going to take care of ourselves. So that is why having these weekly check-ins, these daily habits that we can do to ground ourselves is so essential because they're what we can depend on, because we really need to depend ourselves during an overwhelming season of life. The toughest pill to swallow is that when life feels chaotic, our motivation simply just disappears. And what is going to keep us standing in times like these are the systems that we have based our lives upon. At the end of the day, our habits are what is going to keep us sane. So if we have a bunch of good habits that we do on the day-to-day, we are going to be in a much better place than if we just had no systems that actually get us through our daily and our weekly and keep us afloat. You are not meant to operate like a machine. You need to remember to give yourself the grace to be human. I feel like when we are in a busy, overwhelming season of life, the easiest thing for us to do is to feel bad about messing up, to feel bad about feeling like we are one step behind when life is just moving at 2 times speed. There is so much emotional, physical, financial pressure on being a 20-something-year-old because we are going through the motions when it comes to our relationships, when it comes to our career, and just genuinely like developing and growing as a human being. Our 20-somethings are the decade where we are going to feel like we are comparing ourselves the most to others, where we feel like there's so many expectations placed upon us when it comes to the different timelines that we can have in our life. So with that in mind, normalize not doing everything perfectly. Normalize the fact that you are just trying to figure it out and you don't have to be an ultimate superhuman of a being, because what we see on social media, when we see the highlights of other people's lives, when we see how much people are progressing in comparison to ourselves, that is going to be the death of any joy, of any good feeling that we have in our lives. I want to encourage you to have micro acts of kindness or micro thoughts of kindness when it does come to your life. Think of yourself as a friend. Talk to yourself as a friend when you are feeling down and out about where you are at. Maybe you're having imposter syndrome about your career. Maybe you feel like you are flailing and falling behind. Treat yourself nicely. Talk to yourself like you are a friend. You have listened to this episode, so you obviously want to go somewhere. You obviously want to take care of yourself and try to figure out how to get through this busy season of life. You're already showing up for yourself. Treat yourself with kindness because you deserve it. Grace is not about giving up. It's just about giving yourself the room to show up in your life. I hope that me sharing with you the 5 lessons that I have gained through the busiest, most overwhelming season of my life has allowed you to feel like you are ready to go back to yours. It's been a challenging year where I've had to really come to terms with just where I am at in life and be okay with the fact that this is a time where I'm just prioritizing myself and my career above the other parts of my life, and that's okay. It's just where I'm at, and maybe that's where you're at too, and that's why you've listened to today's episode. So again, I am going to be re-sharing with you the 5 lessons that I have learned throughout this year. The first thing being lower the bar and raise the consistency. Having small actionable steps where you show up for yourself day in and day out is going to lead you to success rather than just these big bouts of inconsistent energy towards your goals. The second thing is do the non-negotiables first. Take care of yourself first thing in the morning. Remember your core maintenance habits, 2 to 3 things that you do every single day to make sure that you are genuinely taking care of yourself, as well as the fact that you need to eat the frog first. Make sure that you are doing your non-negotiables for those bigger projects that you have going on first thing in the morning or whenever it is that you have the most energy when you feel energized. You have to get those non-negotiables done and not let it bleed into your next day. Number 3, stop arguing with the reality of this season of your life. Your life is busy. Come to terms with it. The more that you have that emotional resistance within you, the more drained you are going to feel. When you meet your life with acceptance, you will then be able to have more energy for it because you won't be fighting with life and yourself all of the time. Number 4, build a system, not just motivation. Your habits are what's going to get you through this season of life. Remember what I said about blocking out your calendar with those hours of deep focus. Have that morning routine and that night routine. Have that weekly reset day so that you know that you can depend on yourself. And number 5, give yourself the grace to be human. We all mess up. And it's okay. We are just humans at the end of the day trying to figure it out, especially when we are in our 20s. We are just little teeny tiny adults just trying to figure it out. So give yourself the grace to just slip and fail and go at your own pace. Even though life feels crazy and hectic and overwhelming right now, you are doing just fine, especially the fact that you are listening to this episode. You want better for yourself and let that be enough. You are doing better than you think. And I want you to keep going imperfectly. You do not have to be the ultimate version of you right now. That's for later down the line. Just try to figure out how to take care of yourself day in and day out because that's really all you need to do in this life. If this episode helped slow you down internally just a little bit, please let me know in the comments what tip or lesson that you liked the most in today's episode. I really love hearing from you guys down below. If you are watching on YouTube and you like today's video, please give this video a thumbs up and click the subscribe button. If you are listening on Spotify, feel free to give this podcast a 5-star review. It means more than you know, and follow along on there. And if you really want to follow along the To Be Known journey, please go to the show notes below and follow me on Instagram and TikTok at To Be Known Pod. With all that being said, I wish you the best of luck. Stay true to you. Bye.